Welcome, everyone. Glad to see you here. On behalf of the Foreign Policy Initiative, I'd like to welcome you to our discussion today, Tibet and the Future of Asia, Strategic Issues for the United States, India, and the World. It's an interesting day to be here. I think you might have seen that Secretary Clinton has left Beijing, and before she left, she said that China-U.S. relations have never been better. I think we all have different reasons for wondering if that's an accurate assessment of the situation.
Even with regard to India's relation with China, which is no doubt very, very important, also a relation that will impact on all of us, even the United States, India-China relation. I have always very candidly told Indian, foreign policy people that, you should really not shy away from discussing about Tibet. I mean, any person who knows kind of the elementary, knowledge of the China-India relation, I mean, it will be quite foolish to think that, for example, India and China can have a normal, relation without the Tibet issue being resolved. That Tibet issue needs to be resolved, and the only way I see is through dialogue.
There's a saying that when elephants fight, the grass gets trampled upon. And in this case, I think the grass is the unfortunate people of Tibet. And the two elephants are the two largest countries in the world, with the two largest armies, and possibly in the near future, the two largest economies. Will Tibet be the next global battlefield in Asia after Iraq, Afghanistan? Unlikely, but it's not ruled out, because what we are seeing is rising tension between India and China. And therefore, it may well be the next battlefield, which is why it is very important that the three countries involved, China, India, and the United States, must actually focus attention on Tibet and make sure that a confrontation does not take place. How important is Tibet for India? The simple answer is we have differences with China over 7 major areas, 7 major issues. 5 of these relate to Tibet. So I would think that the one area of agreement we have with China is in understanding that Tibet is a core issue. The Chinese have said it openly. Indians have been in denial, but there is no question in my mind that Tibet is a core issue between us and China and is one of the major issues that the world needs to focus on.
The future of Tibet is very much linked with the future direction of China. It's very difficult to predict China's future, but one thing is certain, that China's future will be determined not by its economics. It's a hugely successful economy. Its future will be determined by its politics. Tibet has been turned into a moral issue and pushed to the sidelines. It's important to bring this issue back to the center stage. And the responsibility to protect norm must apply as much to Tibet as to any other human rights abusing state. Thank you.
We need Chinese behavior to change. We can't accept a bipolar condominium where we accept Chinese behavior as it is as Chinese power grows. That's just not sustainable. It's not sustainable morally, it's not sustainable politically, and it's not sustainable strategically in terms of maintaining peace and stability. How do we shape, to the extent we can, Chinese behavior? Well, part of it is bilateral engagement, but an important part is how we engage with the rest of Asia and how we treat issues like Tibet. The Chinese now spend more on their domestic and internal security than on external security, and we know they spend a lot on that. And so there's this larger trend, which is worrisome, about concerns of internal instability and insecurity, which we saw play out in the drama in the last week in Beijing. Tibet matters because it's a demonstration effect for the rest of the region of the world about how a strong China will treat a weaker power, or in this case a weaker counterpart, that has put forward reasonable negotiating proposals within the context of the Chinese constitution and has been rebuffed in negotiations and has seen repression increase.